Hi folks, we've been on Facebook again and we found this one for no money whatsoever. All we had to do was go and pick it up. Let's see what we've got here. Right, you might have seen the other one that we got off Facebook, which we got running with very little work on the previous video. This one didn't cost us a bean. All we had to do was literally go and pick it up. He said it was running last year. He said, but now it won't start and it's got no petrol in it and they're just going to get a new one. So let's have a little look around it and see why it probably won't start, and let's see the rough condition what we got here. Right, well the first thing to notice here is that the deck is actually complete. It's got no rust holes in it whatsoever. If we come around the other side, you know that other deck we've got was all sort of rusty along here. This is a metal deck and it's absolutely fine. So that will clean up fine. That won't need any painting whatsoever. Should be able to clean the paintwork up fine. But if we look around it, we can actually see that someone's actually had a look at it. For one, we've got the rear brake is not clipped in there, and that cable seems to have come adrift there. That's not a problem at all. We can repair that, because if we pull the handle, the cable is working freely. As you can see there, it's not broken at all, so that just needs relocating. Now this cover's obviously been off in the past because someone's put a screw in there and it's not the right screw, as you can see. Look, it's way too long. But I've got my box of spares where I've got these actual screws, so that's not a problem there. It's got the guard on for the exhaust. Coming around the front here as well, as you can see, someone's put another screw in there. That's the wrong screw holding the cap on. Now one fault here, which I did notice, if you look at the cable there, it's obviously been snagged underneath there. That cable should be exiting where that little notch is there, so that it doesn't dig in. So I've got an old coil which I can just replace that whole lot there, so that's not a problem whatsoever. Now coming around this side, obviously the fuel tank's been off. There's an unstandard bolt in there. That's an Allen bolt. It shouldn't be an Allen bolt, so I know that the fuel tank's probably been off. And also another case nut there is actually the wrong one situated there, so that's not a big problem for me to sort out. I can see that the air filter's been put on the wrong way, so like in the last video, we'll undo that screw and just see what we've got underneath. Now as I say, this has cost me absolutely nothing whatsoever. So everything which I've got here, if I don't get this working, there's no reason why I shouldn't get it working, or if the engine's adversely damaged and it's uneconomical for me to repair, I've got all these spares that are with it that I can put into stock. So if I just remove the air filter there, turn it up the wrong way, again, nice and dry. It's not very clean, it's dirty, but it's all there. It's not been tipped up the wrong way, so that's a pleasing sign. And if we look at the springs, now although everything's dirty underneath here, everything's free and working as it should be. The springs seem to be in their right location. They're not damaged at all, although they're very dirty. And if I press the primer bulb, again, no petrol in it, as you can see, but I'm going to put a drop of petrol in it, and sure enough the tank is dry. So I'm going to check that, and I just want to check the oil as well, because I don't want to start it up if it's got low of oil. So basically everything we see about this mower at the moment screams neglect. So let's just wipe that down. Those of you who haven't ever serviced one of these before, you may know that you have to screw the dipstick all the way in before you take the reading. So let's pull that out and have a look. And as you can see, the oil indicator there is on the bottom of the mark, so it could do with a drop more oil in it. But I'll just screw that back in for the moment, because all I'll do is to if I do try and start it, I'm just going to give it a little quick start and then that'll be it. I'm going to put that cable back through its hole there for the moment. That should get the brake operating again. Let's put a drop of petrol in it. So, you know, I'm not expecting it to start. It will be a bonus if it does start, and by the looks of it, we've got a good groundwork there for a pretty decent mower once you just correct these little problems that I found with it, like the screws and stuff like that. Let's just put that in there. Is that enough? That should be enough. Right, I'm going to look down the Venturi now. Oh, have a look at that, look. Yes, it is, and it's pouring in there. Look, there we go, look. See the jet of petrol? That shows it's working fine, the primer bulb. So, technically speaking, if we've got fuel and we've got spark, I'm not too sure about that at the moment, as I say, because that's under the casing. I'll leave it there for the moment. I'll just put the air filter back on. The right way round. Not that it matters. We've got a grass bag on it, although it shows some signs of wear. I'll show you in a minute. Let me get a screwdriver. As I say, the grass bag is present, but if we take that off there, it's just got a little couple of marks on the corner there. That could actually be stitched up. And the same coming around this side. I don't know how bad this one is. Again, just little holes. I could actually stitch that up, which I probably will do with some heavy duty line or whatever, or maybe patch it on the inside. I'm not sure yet, but that's not a problem. So one thing I like to do, just to make sure before I do start these things, is just tip it up backwards. Look at the blade. The blade actually looks fine. There doesn't look to be any problem at all with it. And always pull the lead off before you start messing about underneath. And that rotates nice and easy, so I'm pretty pleased with that. Although the blade could do with a bit of sharpening, so I would probably take that off and do that. Right, I think that we are able to give this a little test run. So although it's bad weather outside, let's take it outside, just give it a test run and see if it starts. Right, okay, this hasn't cost any money so far. Would it if I put the plug lead back on, wouldn't it? Oh, little fire there. Right, it has got issues, obviously. I think it might be something to do with that spark plug lead. I'll start to strip it down because I think it is worth saving, this one. We've got a decent deck on it, we've got a grass bag, everything's there. I just need to get it going. It could be something to do with that spark plug lead, so I'm going to start working on this and I'll see you in a minute. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do first of all is to take this outer cover off. This holds the pull cord mechanism, as you know, and that is just 3 bolts because I'm curious about that spark plug lead. It's been taped up. I don't know if it's shorting out or whatever, and that's the issue which we've got at the moment. So again, the beauty of these lawnmowers is they're so simple to strip down. Now they do make obviously other types of Briggs and Stratton engines with different carburetor setup, but again you need to stock different parts for them. So yeah, look, we just take that off there like that, and as we can see, that lead there, look, that was trapped underneath, and I don't actually know whether that's been tracking down or not. It looks a bit suspect to me. Let me just take this tape off. We know it was trying to fire, but as I say, these insulator cables are holding a very high spark, and if it isn't operating correctly, it might be shorting out to chassis sort of thing. Not only that, it could be that rear switch as well which was playing up. So yeah, I mean, I can see here for example that there is a chip out of that cable there. So I won't mess about, I'll just change this coil lead for a new one because it's obviously breaking down there. Right, okay then, so this is our coil mechanism. We've got one cable that comes off of it that goes down and connects up to the rear switch for the safety switch at the back there. And all we got here is 2 1/4" bolts, one that holds the weather vane. I call it a weather vane, it's a wind vane for the governor arm. So if we just undo these, all simple stuff this. Just lift that out there like that. That means the weather vane can be just lifted out of the way. And that's the other one. As you can see there, all we've got underneath it is a simple spade connector, which we just pull off, and then that's it removed. That's the coil removed. We've got a damaged cable there, as you probably know, and lucky enough I've got a replacement which is taken off of an old lawnmower which we salvaged, and now we're going to just try this one on there. It should be the same. Again, I can take that cable off of there, look. Clip the old cable back in there. Locate that roughly in the right position. Now, we've got the spark plug bleed off, as you know, and you want to rotate this on this rotor here, or flywheel. You've got a couple of magnets there, and that's what sends the trigger to the spark plug. So if we just drop these screws in, I'm not going to do them up tight yet because we need to adjust the gap between the flywheel and the actual coil mechanism for optimum performance. So, and the way we do that is to have a certain gap, I'll just show you, between the flywheel outer rim here and the magnets. So if I just take up the slack first of all, just so that it nearly pinches the bolts, okay, just like that. And if I rotate this flywheel round, the magnets, wherever they are, there we go, the magnets are now at the front there, and it's just pulled the metal core of the coil surround to the actual flywheel. But if we done it up there and there'd be no gap there. You need a certain amount of gap there, and the way I do that is just to get a bit of cardboard, something like the cereal box, and whack that. I'll just turn the magnets around first of all till they lose their grip, and just slide the bit of cardboard in between the coil body and the rotating wheel, and then just turn it until the magnets re-energise and pick up. There you go, they just picked up now. So basically what's happened there is we've wedged that piece of paper or cardboard in between the flywheel and the body there. And all we're going to do now is just nip these screws up, these two fixing screws. Make sure everything's free, and then we're just going to rotate it again. We should be able to pull our piece of paper out, or cardboard rather, not paper, cardboard. There we go. And now what we've actually got is a perfect gap there now that should give us optimum spark, and it's not touching the flywheel. Right, okay, then I'll just plop that lid back on top now. We've got the new coil in now, that's connected up. I'm just going to need to put some screws in to hold this cover on. Right, so I've put three more screws in the cover now, that's now held on tight. I just want to turn this round. This is pulling up on the inside. Someone's put this on the wrong way around. It's only a simple change around, so let me just do this. Again, little things like this, it just shows you that people have had a little tinker with it. So that just needs to come over that side. Like that. Just roughly at the moment. It does need a new cord on it as well, I've noticed, but again, that's no real problem. Right, okay, so we're in a situation where we can try and start it again. Let me get it on the deck. Put that down there. Now, I don't normally like starting them indoors, but it's raining outside. Let's put that back there. So let's try that again. Right, let's give that another prime. Like that. Put that in there. Right, well, let's do a similar thing. I'm just going to change that spark plug. It'll only take me a second to do that. I have to restock up on my spark plugs and stuff. This is the last one. Again, it's a little bit of a trial and error. But as I say, fuel and spark are your two main components. Where do I put that lead? Oh, here we go. Try that again. Try it again. That was just fuel getting through, I think. Right, there you go. All is well in lawnmower land. It needs a little bit of tidying up, as you can see. This deck will not need painting. I'll just give that a little bit of a wipe down, just to see what it'll come up like. As I say, there's no rot on this one whatsoever. There, I'll just wipe that off there like that. And as you can see, with a little bit of wiping, a little bit of cleaning, that's going to come up a treat. Absolutely lovely. Repaint the casings. I've got to fix that on. Things like that are loose. That bolt there, obviously I only put a temporary one in there, but it wasn't the right thread. I'll sort all this lot out. The deck is in perfect condition, as you can see. There's no rot or anything on this deck. Solid as a rock. Clean everything up, repaint. That will be in another video. But the point I'm making is that these things are out there. This was the day after we picked this one up from the last previous video where we only paid a tenner for it. The replacement coil, if you had to buy that, obviously that will cost you either brand new or second hand on eBay, for example. But even if this one wouldn't have been any good at all and we didn't start it and it was rubbish because all the wheels were broken or the deck was rusty, it still would have been worthwhile having the spares, because that coil was an item which I had in stock from old previous lawnmowers that I'd taken apart and discarded the rotten decks, for example. We put a new plug in it, that goes without saying. It won't need a gasket and diaphragm. That's running perfectly adequate, as you can see. All I'll do is I'll clean the air filter, I'll change the oil in it as well, sharpen the blade, and basically just clean this thing up and maybe repair the two corners on the grass bag. And hey presto, we've got another £70 mower. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little one, and we'll be restoring this and cleaning this up in probably a future episode. But until then, bye for now.